diagnosis, except in the NOS, where when it's really just, just as severe of a problem, and we do help those people. I wish I had more information about compulsive overeating. I'm not that knowledgeable on it, and I wish I was more knowledgeable. Anything else?
What about cultural implications? Like I just came back from Nigeria, and it's this parent of my administrative assistant came in, and she said to me, "Oh, you're not fat," and that's a positive thing. That would be a compliment. And so it's just a different way. If you're fed well and you display body mass, that means your husband's taking care of you. And so it's a really different way. And I was like, no, this is who I am. I wouldn't say, but it wasn't. It was just a different way to look at things. And I don't think my administrative assistant is 25. Her generation doesn't hang on to that past, but that definitely was the tradition of that. It was a show of wealth and care and all that, and we all know that. That's just a way of looking at things.
Yeah, and it's kind of a flip of the thinness ideal in America. They have a non-thinness ideal, and just like people with eating disorders in America can rebel against that by gaining a lot of weight and maybe feeling protected, or maybe punishing themselves, proving that they're not good enough. I'm pretty sure that there are people in cultures who value weight that can rebel against that by losing a lot of weight. Eating disorders they work with the culture they're in. So, for example, in our own history of Christianity, there's a lot of saints who were praised for being ascetics and eating very little, and actually, if you really look into the accounts, they were, anorexic, and exhibited other signs of trauma as well. I speculate that being in a convent would be kind of a safe place for someone who had been traumatized. But anyways, the point is that, today in our society, people use the media's focus on thinness and the need to be thin as a disguise or a cover for having an eating disorder. And in another culture, the disguise was religious piety. So we really the media is really problematic here, and we don't like it. It's very harmful. But it is not a cause for eating disorders. It's not the root cause, usually. I don't want to say ever, but they always happen for severe psychological reasons. Does that answer your question, kind of?
Yeah, it's just an observation.
Yeah, it is. And unfortunately, we're kind of exporting our cultural ideals elsewhere. There was a study in Fiji. It was really sad about people. There was no TV, and once they got TV, people started getting bulimia and anorexia. So there is some effect of the media. Yes?
When you talk about the part of your work that's advocacy, would you say a bit about the fashion industry and what kind of I just read something, I think this last week, where they're going to start marketing large-sized dresses at, was it Walmart or Target, because they find that this is another big way to make money. But your advocacy, it seemed like, was mostly towards the insurance industry and legislative branches, but do you also try to address the fashion industry itself?
Yeah, we do promote healthy role models. We haven't, I would say we haven't had enough time and resources to really launch a big campaign against the fashion industry.
Okay. I just wondered how much they contribute to some of this stuff.
I would say they're kind of it works as, like I said, kind of an excuse excuse or something a form of denying the real problem. The real problem might be the trauma that happened. And if you can say, I need to be thin because it's so important to be thin, and that is what the fashion industry tells us. That's kind of a way to hold on to that. It's also a way of hiding the disorder from people because it's considered a good thing to lose weight and be on a diet and stay in shape. So I think the fashion industry can contribute a ton to the problem, but I don't think that getting rid of the fashion industry would get rid of eating disorders. And the good thing about that is that a lot of people are aware of that problem. And I think some of the other things that we've been addressing, like diagnostic criteria, I don't think people are as aware of.
Do you think the trend toward, because like you showed the pictures of the women, the one in the bikinis and the one in the underwear, and there's a trend because we're all getting fat and they need to sell to us. There's a trend in marketing to go toward the fatter people.
Yeah.
So would that even help a little bit or not? Because it's not about that. It's about what's going on otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I can't say that there would be, the same amount of eating disorders if there was no media pressure. But I definitely know that there would be eating disorders because there's still the trauma and the psychological problems. One thing about being fat in our society is, like, the BMI scale is not a good tool for anything. And a better theory is the set point theory, which is that people have a set weight where their body likes to be at and their body functions at that weight. And that can, vary a lot from person to person. So we find that people who on the BMI scale are considered overweight are actually healthier than people at a lower BMI. So one thing is, that I see a lot of people saying they're overweight when they're really probably very healthy. And then of course there is the obesity problem. And considering that more people have overeating disorders than anorexia as defined now. So there's probably more people with anorexia than we call anorexic. But considering that those are more common, I don't know that marketing to people with bigger sizes will help the problem. It's really important to remember that that eating disorders include the overeating as well. Anything else?
Thank you.
Joan?
Yeah. Can I use the mic?
Yeah.
Because I'm probably going to have a soft voice. In junior high, I started binge eating, and then when I was 28, I checked myself into an eating disorder hospital treatment program. So I understand, and I feel like I'm one of the third that, I don't obsess about food anymore, which I didn't think that would ever be possible for many years of my life. And so I thank you for the work you're doing. And I had really great insurance at that time. I was teaching and Bill had great insurance and it was fully covered, and I just am so grateful that that is over for me. So thank you for your work, and I feel like I'd be false if I didn't confess, since you've been so brave to share your story with us.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah.
I love it when people share their stories. Is that enough for today?
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you.